Hi, it's Mr. Smith, and in this video I am going to go through the college algebra syllabus, and you should read through the whole thing, but I just want to point out the things that I like to highlight. And if you still have questions after I'm done going through this, then I would encourage you to ask your questions either through an email or you can talk to me in class. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So it talks here about contacting your instructor. It's the expectation that we'll get back to you within 24 hours. And normally I'm really good about getting back much quicker than 24 hours. But if for some reason you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, please do not hesitate to send another email. I have missed an email on occasion, but normally I do pretty well with that. Alright, let's go to instructor information. So my name is Scott Smith, and notice my mom forgot the other T in my name, and for that reason my nickname has become 1T. So you can call me Mr. Smith or 1T. My email address is here, and this is a phone number where you can reach me. It's a Google Voice phone number. You can call or text there. If you want to do more than just write a quick note, if you want to have a conversation, that's what I would recommend you do. Just call that number. My office is located in the J building in room 127. Office hours, we'll talk about those in class and figure out what would be the best times. We'll figure some good times out. And if you need to at some point get a hold of our division office, this is their information here. So let me move down to information about the course. So this is College Algebra. Math 1314 22A01 is this section number. And you'll see our meeting times are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 10:20 in room M212. The certification date is January 31st of this year, and basically that's when I indicate who's attending the course. And as far as withdrawing, the withdrawal date, last date of withdrawal is April 14th. And anytime you are thinking about withdrawing, I highly encourage you to talk to me, your advisors, but you want to make sure you talk to the right people before you drop the course. So on the next page there's a course description, learning outcomes, which talks about some of the things that we'll be doing, and Texas core objectives. These are things we want to see happening throughout the different courses that you'll take at our college. Next, we're going to look at required course materials. So these should be covered as part of the payment for tuition. So basically in our case, we've got My Math Lab, which is basically an online program where you can find your textbook, as well as it's where you're going to be doing all your homework and other assignments, other than the tests, which will be done in the testing center. But there is one other thing you should be aware of. A TI graphing calculator is required. Since you're dual credit students, you should get one from your school. So that's something we'll want to take care of early in the course if you don't already have yours. It's important that you have a computer with reliable internet access, since we're going to be doing all the work, or most of the work, in My Math Lab, or My Lab Math is what they call it these days. It's where you're going to be completing your assignments, so it's hard to do all your work at school on the computers there, so hopefully you have a place at home where you can do your work. Let's talk about grading. So you can see that homework is 10%, quizzes are 10%, tests are 60%. So basically, since there's 4, each of those is 15% of your grade. And the comprehensive final is 20%. It's pretty typical, especially in a math course in the college. The grading scale is the standard grading scale. 90 to 100% is an A, and so on. Notice it says here, you will have the opportunity to replace the score earned on a test grade, excluding test 4, with the score earned on the final exam if you have an average score of at least 80% on all homework assignments. So that's a really good percentage to shoot for, especially if you're trying to learn the material. And if you have that average, that will be basically if you have a bad test, that can enable you to overcome that. Let's talk about graded work. So homework, I'm going to go through this in detail. It'll be assigned in MyLab Math to practice the material learned in each section of the textbook. A great feature of MyMathLab is that you'll get immediate feedback for each problem. If you get a wrong answer, you usually have access to a detailed solution to the problem. On the other hand, in order to learn the material well, it's highly recommended that you work out all your homework on paper in some kind of a notebook. Then when you take a quiz later, when you start preparing to take your test, you can look back on the different sections. The way I used to do it, when I took notes, I would make comments about certain things that I didn't understand, problems I knew that I needed to spend more time on. So I just kind of wrote notes to myself of things I wanted to make sure I took care of before the test. The other thing I want to point out is you got all these help buttons as you work through the assignments, particularly the homework. The problem is if you're clicking on those constantly, then you can get a false sense of security that you're understanding what you're doing. It's important as you're doing the assignments to ask yourself, do I understand how to do this now? And if I was given a problem, could I do it without looking back at my work? Because ultimately that's where you want to be by the time you take your test. So just getting through the homework is not enough. It's using the homework to learn the material that's most important. Let's look at the quizzes. So you're also going to have quizzes. These assess the ability or your ability to recognize and complete problems from multiple sections and are a good indication of whether you're learning the material. You may take each quiz up to 2 times and your highest score will be used. You'll have 60 minutes to take each quiz. Really, the quizzes are to help you get prepared for the test. If you take a quiz and you don't use any notes and you pass the quiz, that's a pretty good indication that you're on track. But if you're using your notes from your homework and using them a lot, if you're doing poorly on the quizzes, that's an indication that you need to get some help, or you need to figure out something or do something differently so that you're learning the material and you're not just getting through it. Tests. So there's 4 tests. Each is worth 100 points. And those will be given in the Academic Testing Center outside of class. And we'll go into more detail about that when we take test 1. When you take test 1. All right, so you do have the final, and let's talk about late work. So homework quizzes and test reviews are due as indicated on the course calendar and in MyMathLab. Late assignments will receive half credit up until the test has been taken. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reduce the scores by 25%. So there'll be a 25% deduction for late assignments. So I'm going to change that right here, and I'll change it, and I'll post that syllabus again. No credit will be awarded after you take the test. So in other words, you can do homework assignments or quizzes late up until you take the test that covers that material. But after that, it's too late to go back and do assignments. The whole point of the assignments are to get you ready for the test. Also, if for some reason you missed the deadline for a test, you need to contact me immediately. Normally there are no retakes, there are no late tests. I don't normally give a test late. Instructor-student communication. So the main thing is you want to make sure that your email address in eConnect is correct so that you're going to receive the announcements as I make them. So throughout the semester, I'll make announcements in eCampus, and automatically you get an email at your school email account. So it's really important that you have the right email account in the system, and if you can, you should try to get your emails through your smartphone. Like for me, all my emails come directly to my smartphone and I see them right away. If you need help with that, you can call the IT people and they can help you to do that. Or probably find a friend and they can help you. Attendance participation. Let's see, in order to be certified as attending this course, you must attend class at least once the first 2 weeks and enroll in my math lab. This is really a basic minimum that we're required to follow, but really to be on schedule, you should be done with homework assignment 2.1 by January 30th with a score of 70%. Again, what I'm really looking for is for you to shoot for an average of 80%. All right, institutional policies, you should look at, all of you should look at these at least once. You can click on the link in the syllabus and it takes you to the policies, and just be familiar with what's there. And again, you should at least look at those once, and if you have any questions, let me know. So I think that's all I want to say about the syllabus. Let's look at the schedule real quick. So the calendar or schedule is at the end of the syllabus. My recommendation is that you print it out and that you have it in a convenient place, probably in a folder for your for this course. But you can see it tells you very clearly what we're going to cover this first week of school, or the first week of school, and the due dates of the assignments. And every week you'll have, we'll be following this schedule. If anything changes, we'll talk about it in class, or I may send out an email. But the bottom line is, I do this, and then in class I'll talk about when you should be doing assignments. But all to say, we stick pretty close to the schedule, and as long as you're staying on top of these assignments, you're giving yourself a really good chance to do well in the course. If you're having any problems getting them done with an average of at least 70% and hopefully 80%, then my recommendation is to get some help. So anyway, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I hope that was helpful.